Olá, eu sou o Carlos Mello e essa é a TV Shopping. Agora a gente vai aproveitar a presença do Ian Thomas e a gente vai conversar um pouquinho sobre planejamento de shopping center, design, projetos em shopping center. Hello Ian, how are you?
Carlos, it's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to welcome here to TV Shopping.
Thank you.
Can we use your experience and talk a little bit about planning and concepts of shopping malls and shopping centers?
My pleasure.
All right, first of all, how do you like this 10 Expo Shopping International here in São Paulo?
Well, I have been here before. This is the third time I have spoken at Abrazzi, and I cannot believe the progress that you have made. I think it bespeaks how well your industry is doing when you can attract a complete and full audience that you have. It just shows how exciting and how influential your shopping centers have become here in São Paulo.
O Ian já começou falando pra gente que é a terceira vez que ele vem num congresso da Abrazzi e que ele está realmente bastante feliz, contente em ver a quantidade de pessoas que vem nesse congresso e como a gente cresceu, como a indústria de shopping centers no Brasil cresceu e está progredindo. Eu vou perguntar para ele agora por que ele acha que a gente está nesse caminho tão bom, por que a gente está andando de uma forma com bastante desenvolvimento, bastante agressivo. Ian, why do you think we are having such a good time in the shopping center industries here in Brazil?
Well, obviously it's economically driven. Brazil is certainly growing economically very, very quickly. There is a strong middle class emerging, and that segment, the first thing they want to do is shop.
Como a gente já tem falado aqui nas entrevistas do TV Shopping, o Ian respondeu: tem muito a ver com o drive econômico e financeiro, ou seja, do Brasil estar crescendo de uma potência econômica e também com a criação e o fortalecimento da classe média brasileira. Quanto mais classe média a gente tem, mais compras e mais shopping centers também existem. Eu vou entender um pouquinho o que ele faz na consultoria Thomas, entender qual é o papel dele e o que ele está fazendo aqui no Brasil. Ian, what is exactly your responsibility at the Thomas Consulting?
I am chairman of the company, and our company has been in existence almost 30 years, and we
In America?
in Canada.
In Canada.
But we work all across the world. We have worked in over 50 countries.
So you have a lot of global experience.
Yes, I would think so.
Por mais de 30 anos, ele gerencia a companhia de consultoria de planejamento de shopping centers, baseada no Canadá, mas trabalhando em projetos no mundo inteiro. Então é exatamente isso que eu vou fazer agora. Eu vou aproveitar essa experiência de 30 anos e vou perguntar para ele sobre as tendências do planejamento de um shopping center e como se faz um planejamento de shopping center. Alright, let me use your experience and ask you, how do you plan a shopping center? How does a client come to you, to your company, and say, Ian, we want a shopping center, how do we do it?
Well, the first thing you look at, obviously, is the site. And there are certain characteristics that must be satisfied in order to develop a good shopping center. You know, ideally it should be at the intersection of two major arterial roads. Ideally it should be a flat site. Ideally it should have ease of access off the highways. Ideally it should be in the line of future growth. Ideally, it shouldn't be next to competitors, but quite a long way away from the competitors. So there's a latent opportunity for your center.
O primeiro ponto que ele está me explicando, a gente vai falar da locação, ou seja, o local onde você vai colocar o seu investimento. Idealmente, ele frisou bastante, sempre idealmente, você estar em vias de acesso fácil, você estar longe dos seus concorrentes, você estar em um terreno plano que você não tenha muito trabalho na hora da construção. Mas como ele mesmo brincou, tudo isso é idealmente. Once we have talked about location, we have been hearing some concepts here in Brazil about open malls, lifestyle, mixed use. Could you enhance our knowledge about these concepts? What are these concepts?
You know, the only constant in retail is change. You know, the market is forever changing. And it's because the consumer always wants something new and different. So we are always having to respond to the consumer's needs and desires, And today, they love the idea of being back in the open air. They love being environments where people can socially interact, so it becomes the social scene. So they have al fresco dining, so people are sitting outside. That creates a buzz and excitement, and then interspersed with all the restaurants and coffee shops and bars and nightclubs are all the stores that they want to see. So that is what we call a lifestyle center.
Let me just translate that.
Yes.
A ideia básica de todo o conceito de shopping center, o Ian estava me explicando, é a mudança constante. Os nossos consumidores, eles querem sempre novidades, eles querem sempre mudanças. E agora, ele estava me dizendo, voltamos para o estilo do open mall, ou seja, céus abertos. E além disso, ter o contato, a interatividade com outras pessoas. Ian, why do you say we go back to the concept of open malls? Did we start with open malls in the past?
Yes. If you look at the oldest shopping centers, they are all basically streets. They are all open air environments. And even in very warm climates like in the Middle East, through weather protection, they were still able to create that desirable experience. Then 50 years ago we invented air conditioning, and so we built everything inside. But the problem with an air conditioned environment is it's artificial, and people like to be in natural, authentic places. So that's why we are seeing a desire, maybe not a preference, but certainly a desire at times for people just to be simply outside.
Alguns anos, quando a indústria de shopping center começou, eram ruas abertas, eram locais abertos, com céu ao ar livre, com teto ao ar livre. Depois ele brincou, inventou-se o ar-condicionado. Quando se inventa o ar-condicionado, fecham-se as construções e começam-se a criar shopping centers fechados. Mas o ar-condicionado não era natural. A sensação, como ele mesmo explicou, não era a mesma de estar de volta num ambiente mais natural. Por isso essa nova tendência de você ter os shopping centers abertos ou em mais contato com a natureza e mais contato com o ar natural. And then you were telling me we had like lifestyle, we had like open malls, and we have been listening to a concept called mixed use. My question is, because we live in such big cities like São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, mixed use is bringing right now office buildings with apartment buildings, with shopping centers, everything together in the same location. Is this a trend?
Oh, most assuredly. You could call it the city within a city, and you create a very efficient environment because you can live, work, shop, play, eat, recreate, all in the same integrated environment. It doesn't necessarily have to be totally enclosed as you go, so you can go from one complex to another. But the idea is that it becomes a pedestrian experience. You park your car and you never have to leave it until you want to leave the compound or the complex. So what you do, it often starts with a very big shopping center, and that generates a lot of traffic, and then office buildings will want to be located next to it because the workers like the idea of being able to shop next door, and then hotels want to come because they've now got office buildings and a great shopping center for their guests. And then finally residents will say, well, what a nice place to live in, because often we don't build the sea of parking anymore, that impersonal parking lot, but rather it's very animated with beautiful landscaping. So instead of looking out of your apartment building into a sea of asphalt, a parking lot, you're actually looking into a beautiful mixed-use environment. So it becomes a desirable place to live and work and eat and play and shop.
Is this a response because of the big cities, or do you believe this is a concept to be widespread to all kinds of regions and cities?
Oh, I think it's a widespread concept.
Even though if you go to the countryside, for example, where we don't have this traffic problem or security problems.
Well, in the country, for example, I think people would say, why would I want to live in an apartment in the country when I can own my house?
It doesn't make sense, right?
So it doesn't necessarily make sense in the country. But from an office standpoint, where they need professional officers, doctors and dentists and insurance agents and real estate officers and banks, they could easily, go next to the shopping center, as could, a motel, a highway hotel. So they would like to be there.
Uma das coisas que o Ian estava me explicando é o novo conceito do mixed use, ou seja, algumas grandes cidades começam a usar o conceito de trazer primeiro um grande shopping center, depois torres de escritório, depois torres de apartamento e depois entretenimento, ou seja, vários setores de uma mesma sociedade concentrados em uma mesma região. Ele estava me explicando que sim, isso pode ser uma resposta para as grandes cidades, problemas de tráfego, problemas de segurança, mas também ele fala que como nós temos que administrar o nosso tempo, a palavra é eficiência. Como ser eficiente em uma grande cidade quando você tem problema de tempo? Fazendo assim, concentrando o mixed use no mesmo lugar ao redor de um grande shopping center. Ian Thomas, thank you very much for your time and thank you for sharing all your experience with our viewers.
Thank you, Carlos.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.